right, welcome back to Tales of the Times, Episode 6, Tradition. Today we are not sitting down with a client. We are speaking about some former clients. And can you all tell us who we're talking about today?
Go ahead.
Who we're talking about?
Who we're talking about?
We're talking about Shirley and Jeff Stevens is what I was under the notion.
That's correct. And who are you all that I'm sitting down with?
I'm Brad Stevens.
You a bad liar. I'm Brad Stevens.
I'm Donald Stevens.
And I'm Donald Stevens.
I'm their dad.
Hey, you're Junior.
And I really am
You're Junior.
Well, I go by Donnie though. I
We
never
just got
like
you Junior
Yeah.
tonight.
Donnie's good for me.
He didn't like that junior stuff.
They put that on.
Lord. Well, let's start out with what year was Papaw born?
1932.
And just so that I don't get anybody tripped up, I'm calling Papaw Jess is
Jess
my Papaw,
Stevens.
so we're just
Yep.
it's Papaw Jess whoever.
Yep.
Papaw Donnie's your Donald.
Well, Papaw
Papaw
Donald
Jess and
Doug is,
Papaw
yeah,
Donald.
they're both Papaw, but I'm talking about Papaw
He's
Jess.
talking about the old one.
Yeah, the old
Yeah,
one.
I'm young.
The old one?
I'm young.
Oh, okay. He's young. So, well, I've lost it. So he's born in 32.
Yeah, he's born 32.
What year was Nanny born?
37.
And where was Papaw Jess born? To the best of your
I'd
debated
say
knowledge.
he probably was born around Manchester or maybe up the holler there, or where he lived.
I'm gonna guess he was.
He had a twin sister,
Yeah.
Twin sister.
Yeah,
Who was
he
his
did have-
twin sister?
Georgie, was his twin. She was older than he was.
You wanna know an interesting fact?
She was older than me.
She
His
was
birth
older.
certificate. His name was Bessie,
Yeah, they called
because
him.
they thought they both was girls for a minute, I guess.
They
They never did. They didn't know the difference until he was. I believe he got.
That's terrible.
Oh,
He
gosh!
got black lung or something, and he had to change his name on his birth certificate from Bessie to Tessie.
So anyway,
So how long was he Bessie?
he was Bessie
That's
for
a long
years.
time, buddy.
According to Nanny, he was
According to the
Bessie when he
Office of Vital
died.
Statistics.
He was, I don't know. Let's say, I'd say about 40 years.
He was Bessie.
So
Nanny
he's
used to
Bessie.
call him Bessie, and he'd go in his bedroom and come up with the wig on.
Yeah, he'd wear a wig.
Yeah. And she said, "What are you doing?" He said, "I'm Bessie."
Yeah.
What's it look like I'm doing?
So now there's alternate personalities.
Yeah.
So there's Bessie and then
That's
there's
an episode all in itself right there.
Oh, gosh. So then where was Nanny born?
I guess she was born in Jackson County, and I don't know exactly where. I don't believe I've ever heard anybody say it.
I don't think I recall her ever telling me if she was born in a barn or a hospital or nothing like that.
Well, you know where
Most
she
likely
was.
it wasn't a hospital.
Back
Most,
then, they were just born. Daddy.
they,
In my house, they was in the house.
When he was born,
She
he
was
was
just
just
born.
they
just
was born most likely on Mildred Road
Just
in
born
Peyton.
back here.
Okay. She was just born.
It's different now.
Well, she went to school over there in that big white schoolhouse.
She
so
went-
you know
She went
was-
to
What you talking
Apple
about?
Institute.
She went to
Yeah,
Yeah,
Amber
Amber
Institute.
Institute, what they call Morse Creek now,
Yeah,
yeah.
I don't know what you call it now.
Well,
They do call it something else.
That's
yeah,
where she
Morris
went to
Creek.
school.
yeah, it was for years, but yeah, that's where she went. Amber Institute.
All right. Well, to the best of your collective knowledge, give us some of the best tales of Papaw and Nanny's childhoods.
I'm gonna have to take my coat off for this.
Buddy, just don't tell the 64-year-old one.
I ain't gonna tell
I'll
her.
tell you my favorite one while he's getting prepared. Papaw was a pacer.
Okay.
He paced back and forth through the house so much. They had a window in the back door and then a window in the bedroom. So he'd walk from the bedroom to the kitchen, and he just pretty much had a path on the floor. Well, one day he had paced and he talked to himself the whole time he was doing it that day. He was just a jabbering. And he come through there and Nanny said, "Now, Jess, you stupid man. I've watched you all day. All I'm gonna listen and watch you talk to yourself and pace around in this house. Now you sit down." And he stopped about right in front of her, and he got about 3 inches from her nose with his nose. And he said, "Well, I'll tell you one thing, brother. If I'm gonna talk to anybody that's got any sense around here, I'll have to talk to myself."
He did do that. You remember that, Daddy?
Yeah, I remember.
I bet he does. Yeah,
I
he
do remember. That's the truth.
So what you gonna tell?
What after that?
Yeah.
Well, there was this one time out behind the house.
Oh,
Oh, no.
I ain't gonna tell
I
it.
told
That won't work.
that won't work.
Well, I'll tell you, Nanny used to like talk about her childhood.
Yeah.
And when it come Christmas, we always went out of our way, I think, to try to make Christmas big for Nanny, but because she often talked about her childhood, and her Christmas always involved a sack with fruit and like she would get just maybe a piece or two of candy in it or something like that, and then some material, for a dress or something like that. That was her Christmas pretty much every year. So I remember her telling me about the time that she found that stuff in the building because she thought it was getting brought by Santa Claus. I don't know if she ever wondered why he didn't come up with nothing better than fruit and candy. But that was her Christmas.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what she got every year.
That's what a lot of our people have said too.
And so for I know all of my memory, the children, and then of course grandchildren, we got old enough, adults and stuff, we always tried to make sure Nanny got pretty good stuff for Christmas, just to try to take care of her Christmas. Now Papaw, it didn't matter what you got him, because you could have got him a pack of drawers or a new car and it wouldn't have made no difference. He'd looked at them both about the same. And we used to do that, I guess nowadays they call it, what is it, what's
Just
the
call it something.
bad
White
Santa or
Christmas,
whatever it
white
is?
I
elephant.
don't know nationality.
Yeah, whatever it is, the bad Santa or whatever,
Lord.
or we
Yeah.
draw the names for the gift and all
Yeah.
that. Well, there was one Christmas not long before Papaw passed away, and for some reason he'd get up and walk right out during the game. He'd draw his number out and everything, and he'd leave, and he'd go in there and basically go in there and get to bed pretty much. And Brad, he had a number before Papaw, so he drew and he went over and opened his gift up, and I think it was like a cordless screwdriver, I believe is what it was, wasn't it? And Papaw come in there when it was his turn, which of course Brad had went on and on and on about that screwdriver. He said, "Man, I've been wanting me one of them. I've really been needing that." He said, "Please don't steal that off me to everybody." Well, Papaw wasn't in the room, so Brad's over there reading instructions. I mean,
He could hear.
he'd opened it up. He was all this stuff, and it come time for Papaw, and I went in there and I said, "Buck, I've been here, it's your turn." He said, "Is it my turn?" I said, "Yeah." And he come walking in there, and he said, "What'd Brad get?" And Brad said, "You get away from me. I got this screwdriver." And Papaw said, "I believe that's what I'll take." And he just took the screwdriver and went right back to his room with it. So I went in behind him. I said, "Papaw, I just got you the same screwdriver. You just opened it." He said, "Buddy, man can't have too many screwdrivers." So Brad lost that.
That's what we had to deal with.
Yep.
Well, moving on. What did Papaw do for a living the longest?
I guess, well, I don't know if he worked in the mines or if he carpenter work.
You gonna call that work?
What?
The carpenter part.
Well, buddy, he worked a long time doing that.
Now, you can't start talking about the carpentry and not talk about him building the house.
He built houses. Squire Markham taught him how to build. He didn't know nothing. He couldn't build a doghouse.
You know how most people, they use these pitch tool, or what do you call them
Yeah,
things?
talk about pitching
Speed
roof.
square. Let me tell you how he'd pitch a roof.
Oh,
He'd
yeah.
step back about 20 foot from it, throw his hand up there, and try to make a triangle with his hand, say, "Now nail it right there."
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how he did that little house up there at Ralph built.
Yeah, Ralph Holler was building a building.
He said the roof's so steep you can't.
He said, "Yes, we can't figure out how to pitch this thing."
Well, there's no doubt he carpentered longer than the mines, though.
He probably did.
There ain't no doubt.
I think he come out of the mines when he was about 38.
Well, he's still carpentering.
So that's long. That's a little
65.
bit before my time.
Yeah.
Well, talk a little bit about what Nanny did while Papaw was doing all that.
Back in the day, all I can remember Nanny doing is cleaning the house, buddy. She'd have the doilies so still if you cut, you cut them.
She put on.
Well, now she
Well,
did
now-
work pretty hard for a while in that
Well, when she
upholstery.
got older,
That's
but
what
back
I-
in the
yeah.
younger
They
days,
talking
yeah.
about like
she
back
just
when she
worked
was
on,
young.
she just cleaned the house every
She
morning.
just made dolly stiff back
In
in
the
the
summer,
day.
And then later on, she started upholstery.
And the,
Right.
oh yeah, she could upholster.
She could
was good.
upholster couches and chairs,
Who,
and car seats, and all that stuff.
Who was it that used to always take their used cars to her? And she would get her up. They had used car lot,
Well,
and,
there one of them car lots in here.
and she'd upholster all their insides of the cars.
Yeah, she
So when
all
you
them
bought
car lots. Davison and
there was a couple of them. I can't remember that
He
she had
come up
told
there a
me
lot.
specifically. Was it one of the whites maybe?
yeah, I'd say they.
I'm
they
trying to remember, cause I just remember her talk about
that guy
when-
down there at the bridge, what's his name? Joe Hacker. He come there a lot.
So they had a upholstery shop right there on at the bottom of Island Creek Hill, just a little bit past
The
Martin's
fir-
there.
At first they had up there in that house, the little house Lewis had.
So they had on Charles Side
Yeah, right up there outside of his garage. And then they moved down there.
Because I remember when they moved down there on the
Yeah.
side of the road. And then when I was in high school, she used to pay me to tear them down. I'd have to take all the stuff, all the material off the couches and chairs, and take like a needle nose plier. That was the worst part of the job, was getting all the staples out of it. Because there was people would bring like antique furniture to her,
Yep.
stuff that they got at antique shows and different things like that, and she'd get all over me because she went in there working. They wouldn't, if there's a staple left, then it cut her out of pieces. You know, she started putting in. I was always impressed with how strong she was because you had to pull that material and staple it, and
She'd stretch it, it'd be tight as a banjo string.
then you had to put like the button went through and had that that twine on it or whatever. She'd
Yeah.
have to pull on that real tight, and sometimes I'd help her by holding it while she stuff like that. But now she paid me, if I remember right, she gave me $20 to tear one down. It seemed like I got 15 for a chair and 20 for a couch.
Yep.
About what?
Later on, she worked up there for up at Reed's, up on what's that holler? Crawfish. She worked up there for a while. You remember that?
I remember her talking about it.
Yeah, she worked up there.
But if she was a professional at anything, it probably was playing Nintendo.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
played
The Legend of Zelda in particular. There's not
Yeah.
one she
Hey,
didn't play.
buddy, it was.
I don't know too much about that stuff.
Now she's serious.
She was real
But I
good.
know
Dead
she could play.
serious.
She was a gamer when gaming wasn't cool. That's a fact.
Yeah.
I remember I came home from school one day and there was kids from the high school was in Nanny's living room and they had games scattered all over the place, and she'd go, now that and there is a good one. I beat that in 3 days. And then they'd be like, so they'd be like, I ain't never played that. And so they'd have some with them and they'd trade with her. So she would trade. I remember John Kennedy coming in there at one time and was trading games with my nanny. I was like, John, why are you at my nanny's? And they said, I'm trading games. So she definitely had that going on for her too. But she enjoyed that up till her hands got to the point where she couldn't play the games, and
Well, in
then
her eyesight, she went blind.
she just kept losing stuff until she couldn't do any of it anymore.
She went completely
And
blind.
then she went to Naked and Afraid and watched that all the time.
Lord.
You know this to be true. That's true.
Oh Lord, now you got me all messed up. Oh gosh, did she ever tell you the story about when she was growing up and she's afraid to go down into the basement of her house?
Oh yeah. You
Yep.
remember that?
Yeah.
How much of it you remember?
I'm trying to remember where that was. I can't remember.
I
that.
thought she said like it was up around. Was it around Mount Vernon, maybe?
Yeah, down there around Mount Vernon, they call it some kind. It was right beside a railroad track. The house was. And she was afraid to go down in that underneath that house, or basement or whatever it was. And she finally went down there, and there was either 2 or 3 skeletons that was set. They was sitting there just
like
They
human.
was just dead people, they just died.
Human skeletons.
Huh?
Human skeletons.
Yeah.
You know what I remember about that story? It was her and her sister,
Yeah.
which was Nora Lee, that
We
lives
believe
in
that was
Jackson.
happening.
They said it did.
It happened.
She
man.
told it to me.
But I also said the sack man would put you in a sack and take you out for
Rob told that.
They wouldn't do that, I don't think.
That Rob told that. Nanny was usually pretty good to do whatever she threatened on stuff like that.
And then that wall in that house, it kept having a big spot coming on it, and they'd paint over it, and it'd come right back again when it rained.
There ain't nothing, listen,
it.
there's
They figured out
nothing,
it was blood.
there ain't nothing she liked better than to sit and tell them stories to get you scared to death. She'd do
I'm
that.
already getting scared.
You're scared. You're scared, baby. You're getting scared just sitting here. But she, what that story about them bodies though, it was her and her sister
Yeah.
was aggravating her mom, is how she always told me. And her mommy was Hattie, but she said, you need to get out there and play or something, get out from under me. I'm cleaning this house. And they went outside, and I know where, cause she said that she described everything about it, like there's a hot air balloon went over their house. And she was talking about, we seen that hot air balloon, and we run back in there, and we was jerking on her skirt tail and telling her, Mom, you got to come in here. Look. She said, I don't want to see it. I'm a cleaning. Now you all get back. And that's how they ended up getting in the basement. They hadn't been in that house long, the way I understood it. And then they looked. She said the police came and everything. They come there.
Little skeletons on there, buddy.
Said they figured it was somebody come off them trains and something happened. I don't know. They must have got down there and got stuck.
That's a long tale I've years.
That's a long time ago.
I don't know what happened. All I know, she'd like to get you scared real good.
Yeah, you can say that again.
Brad, when he was a little boy, which Brad, he'd blow up a onion sack anyway.
What?
But he was, you would blow an onion sack completely up.
Well,
But he was
clarify that. When I was a kid.
Well, that's what, well, I said you would. I put wood on it. Kind of wood. But he was out in the yard, and we used to play hide and go seek at night.
Particularly in
So
the
buddy, he seen Bigfoot out there. He had him down to about 10 foot tall. He was brown, hairy, he had these big eyes, and all that stuff. And Nanny was dying laughing. Cause I knew it was her, cause she told me, she said, I'm fixing to fix the little boy. I'm going to get Brad with this, and he's going to get it. And she went out there, well, now get this, Bigfoot, brown, hairy, big eyes, all that, was Nanny. How tall was Nanny?
About 5'5".
She's about 5, with her hands in the air and a sheet over them. That was not brown, but white. And that's what he saw out of that. But she did scare him right good, though. He got spooked on that. And I tried the same thing, because we live beside a graveyard.
Yeah.
So I hid in the graveyard behind a tombstone up there, and I got me a sheet, and I did that, and they just come on, they was killing me, because they threw rocks at me. They didn't throw rocks at Nanny, but they threw them at me.
There wasn't no rocks in the yard.
Yeah, I might as well. But she did like that stuff. She loved scary stuff. And,
Yeah.
you remember back in the day, I mean, it ain't been the day, but now I guess Nanny kind of kept up with technology a little bit. I know that sounds odd, but she did.
Yeah.
And she'd always like when you talk about them games, I got a Nintendo for Christmas. Well, it was like this winter, we missed school about 2 months. And I stayed down there and played my games at her house. Well, she'd got to playing it when I'd go home. I just left it down there. So when we went back to school, I said, I'm going to take my game home. She got madder than far. She said, you take it right on. You say what I do. Just take it right on. And she went uptown, bought her one, and bought twice as many games as I had. I mean, she went and loaded plumb up and then rubbed it in my face when I went back down there the next time. But and then she got a Super Nintendo before I did. Because when the Super Nintendo came out, she was fixing me again. She said, I'll get me one before you get one. So I ended up getting, I thought, one of them for Christmas too. But I was playing it at Nanny's before I ever got mine. But that was that's just how she was. But she liked that scary stuff. She'd send me town all the time. Go get us a good scary movie. when you would rent movies, you know, and she had her VCR and stuff down there.
Her mother was real scary.
She liked to scare people. There was some boys down there. There was some boys down there got the sticky fingers, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Running around the holler there one time, and you could see the road there from a street light across the road. And they come slipping up there one night, and Nanny said, "I'm gonna fix them." And bro, she come out with a pack of firecrackers. And she lit that pack of firecrackers. She threw the whole pack of firecrackers, and when them things start going off, it's like on Home Alone. They killed themselves. Get down that road. They thought she should. Yeah, she originated that. What you know, she did have privilege to where she saw movies way before they come out in the theater. You know, she used to say that stuff.
Yeah, wait, listen, I'm gonna watch that new Sylvester Stallone. I remember over
Over
the
the top.
I said, I'm gonna
forget
go
it.
watch Over the Top in the thing. She said, I've done seen it. It ain't worth a quarter. She said, that man can't act. And I said, Nanny, you couldn't have seen it. It's just not coming out thing. She said, honey, I watched it the other night right here on ABC. I'm telling you, I watched it. And I was like, I don't believe it. But she did watch movies there. I don't know what
I
you
always seen them way before they came out.
way before.
Way.
Well, go back and tell how many brothers and sisters that Papaw had, and how many brothers and sisters that Nanny had.
Lord.
We'll have to add them up.
Let's see.
Well, for Jess,
Get them up there.
Nanny.
it would have been Papaw. It would have been
Let's see.
Boone,
Well,
Rob,
first it was,
Daisy.
no,
Well, I mean, don't get ahead
Coey.
of it.
Coey was the oldest.
Yeah, you're gonna do them in order.
Yeah, he's
Well,
got-
They know what I'm doing in order.
Well, I'm not in order, but Coey was the oldest.
He
Well,
got
hey,
counted
She
down.
passed away. She was just about 30-something
You
years
got a lot
old.
better head on your shoulders than I
I
think.
can't remember much, but
Now, you're doing pretty good.
Boone and Rob. I'm getting mixed up now.
Matt,
Daisy, Mac.
Callie.
Yeah, Caddy. I forgot Caddy.
huh?
And there's another one. Daddy had a little brother. He lived to be 5 years old and he died.
Well, he had Georgia too.
Georgia, yeah,
Twin.
Georgia was his twin.
Yeah. But how many is that? Did you count them,
That's
Peyton?
7.
I wasn't counting. I got to one of y'all.
I think
Four of us sitting
We're
here
going
can't
to
count.
there was 8 of them, and that one died when he was little, about 5 years
Well,
old.
we do it all over and count them.
And then Nanny's real easy,
And she just
cause
got.
there was one sister, Nora Lee,
But
and
didn't she have one died too?
she's
though?
still living.
She had a little boy. I think he's the oldest, wasn't he?
She had a brother died.
She had a brother that died. He died.
That was fairly common too, I
Yeah.
guess. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's buried over there at the end of that road there, across from the RACC place,
That little.
Male.
Yeah, I know
Yeah.
where you're talking about.
where
That
Mommy's
graveyard.
daddy's buried.
Yeah.
But anyway, man, that and then Nora Lee.
Yeah.
So, what year did Papaw and Nanny get married?
Lord, it's
What year was you born? It was before that.
53.
So they must got married
I'd
about
say about-
51 or 2.
I'd say about. See, Daddy was 32. I think he was about 20 when I was born. He was about 52. Wasn't
That's probably right.
he? About 51 they got married, I'd say.
Where'd they live when they first got married?
Oh, Lord, over there in the woods in a cabin.
What woods?
Over there,
Was
Let's
it the
see.
Joe Bottom or
Above
was
the
it?
Joe Bottom.
above the Joe Bottom
that
up there,
bench.
right in the woods up there.
It's on that bench above the Joe Bottom.
They had a little old cabin built up there, and that's where they lived.
Which would have been right down from Rob's house.
Yeah,
Probably
well,
close to where
yeah,
Tony and Vicky are.
yeah.
Out past
out
that.
there a little bit
Where
past
the
that.
pond is.
Past that.
Now, this one should be easier. How many children did they have?
Nanny,
Yes.
3.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Oh, Lord.
They had three. The two of them had three together, didn't
Huh? Yeah, they had 3.
they? And you was one of
Well,
them.
Nanny had them, but you know, they was Papaw's and Nanny's.
Yep.
I'm glad that we've got that broke down.
Yeah, I'm glad we said settle down.
So they're Daddy and Pam and Connie.
Yeah.
And there's about
Well, Connie and Pam, I gotta say them in
there's
order.
5 years between me and Connie, and 9 years between me and Pam. So
That's about like my
you
kids.
So
figure
there
it
you
out.
go.
You figure it out. he
I've
said.
got 3, and everybody. I've got a.
Pam.
And I flipped it.
Like a
I had the 2
Yeah.
girls, and then a boy was the youngest. Brad stayed right in the same formula there. Didn't he?
Pretty close, yep.
So now this one's for you, Papaw. What was it like growing up with Papaw and Nanny?
Oh, it was fun, buddy. We moved in that house. The house that I live in now, I was 1 year old when we moved in it. And he didn't have the upstairs or anything. Daddy did that later on when he had 2 or 3 more kids.
Yeah, you can tell.
But we had a good time, buddy. Just there's always a bunch up there. A bunch of my friends and Connie's friends and Pam's friends. They all gathered there at our house.
When did the music start?
Well, Daddy's played music every weekend. There'd be a whole crowd of them there, and they'd play. He played on radio. We played on the radio pretty regular. And Herschel and Bobby and all them would come in. Bobby lived in Michigan. Herschel and Ohio, and they'd all come in.
Chuck. You trying to talk about
Chuck
Trying to say
didn't play.
Ohio.
I know. Was that who you trying
He's
to
trying
talk
to
about?
say where he lived.
He lived in Ohio, Hamilton.
Yeah.
Herschel did. Herschel lived in Hamilton. Bobby lived in Michigan. But they'd still all get together and they'd come right to Daddy's, right to our house. And they'd play all night long.
When I had another brother that played though. What was he?
Raymond?
Raymond played.
Yeah, he was like Chet Atkins, though.
Golly.
You say it like that's a
Yeah,
bad thing.
well,
he wasn't hardly
Atkins. He didn't play their style. He was a lot better than they was.
So he had to play by himself.
Yeah.
And the reason neat thing growing up for me is Nanny always had them old reel-to-reels, and you could they recorded all that stuff.
We still got that stuff somewhere.
But you could put them reel-to-reels on and listen to them. You know, they just turn them on and let them play for hours. Doing that. We had was it Chuck or Herschel had the video camera when they first come out?
Chuck.
They weren't even.
You sure? Yes, Herschel.
It wasn't even, didn't have sound on it or anything, but we've got videos with his grandmother in it, and I mean way back stuff. I guess where they lived.
It's got Boone, let's see, Nanny's on it.
Yeah, like Papa's
And so this
mother.
is what you got to look forward to, Peyton.
Oh, I know.
Boone was one of Papaw's brothers.
Mm-hmm.
And he
Elihu.
lived Elihu. We'll call him Boone
we
because
called him
everybody
Bo-
called him
we
Boone.
called him Boone.
If you said Elihu, he wouldn't even answered.
Yeah, Boone stayed out in a cave one night.
Listen, I'm gonna tell this. Let me tell this.
You gonna tell it?
Yeah, we was up not
He don't
that.
know that.
I'm gonna tell
They
this.
don't know that.
So he got in Cincinnati up there one day. Boone.
Okay.
He lived up there with Georgie for a while, and he got beside a building. He stuck his head up to the building, and he stood there, and he'd been standing there for like 3 or 4 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And some people finally got a hold. You know, they got police officers on foot walking on the street up there. And some people finally got a hold of a cop and said, "You need to go check on that man over there." Said he's been standing over there forever. And that cop walked over there to Boone, and he said, "Hey, sir," he said, "You all right?" And Boone went, "Huh, huh." He said, "Get over here. Put your head up there." And that cop stuck his head up to the side of the wall. And he said, "Sir, I don't hear nothing." Boone said, "Yeah, I know it. It's been like that all day."
He done. He all kinds of pulling stuff on somebody.
That's the kind of stuff you be pulling one of these days.
He never did drive a car.
Oh, gosh.
He never did drive a
No,
car.
he'd always get him a woman.
He could direct the traffic over at Somerset one night for a while, didn't he?
Yeah, he directed traffic. He's good at that.
Anyway,
Oh Lord.
Papa
now,
loved telling stories though.
Yeah.
Tell about you were tying that fella up there in the
Oh,
cabin.
Lord.
I was going to ask, is that the cabin that they lived in?
No, we built that cabin.
But it was close.
Yeah,
It was still down there in Joe Bottom, wasn't it?
Close.
up on the hill there.
On that bench.
Yeah, I
Right on
won't
the
say
bench.
who
They
helped
put
me,
it on
but
the bench.
we
Now, let's not convict him.
Well,
Who?
we got this guy, and he said he wanted us to tie him up.
Yeah, I hear you.
So
He wanted
we
it,
tied him.
Peyton.
He wanted it. We put his hands behind his back, tied his legs, and we pulled him up, tied him off there. He hung by his feet. I mean, this guy went down the road to get us bologna sandwiches or something. We went to the store.
They hung him
I
out.
figured he'd get out of there. Well, we come back, and he was still hanging there, and he wasn't moving. I thought he'd dead.
He wasn't. He said he's kind of blue, wasn't he?
Yeah, he wasn't right there. I thought we killed
His
him.
color was off. His color was
I
off.
really did.
Oh.
You finish it.
Well,
You just cut him down.
he said, Danny said, well, we're going to cut him down. I done told who he was, but Danny said, cut
They
him
don't
down.
implicate nobody.
Well, I
You
didn't,
done
tell,
that.
I didn't tell his last name.
He's a state.
So I got my knife out, I cut that rope, and he hit on his head. He just about that high off the floor, though. He
Like a
on his
sack
head,
of taters,
he
huh?
rolled out on the floor just like a sack of taters.
For the listening audience, he was about 1.5 to 2 foot off the floor. His head was.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he hit the ground like a sack of taters, and they left him there.
Yeah.
Because they thought he
I
was.
thought, yeah.
What'd you think? Tell the
I
truth.
thought he did. Well, about a week before I seen him again. We wouldn't go back to that building, that cabin.
He was laying there dead.
So one day I seen him go down the road, and I hollered at him and said, "Hey, Jack."
Hey, buddy.
I didn't say his last name.
Okay.
Let me tell you what he done.
Oh, God.
He cussed me out of pieces.
You blind?
I wonder why.
I don't know.
Oh,
Oh
Lord.
my gosh.
That was pretty good.
Well, now when you was
Well-
younger, how did you get around? When do you first remember Papaw having a vehicle?
Well, first one I had was a 57 Ford. No truck.
Okay.
What about Papa?
What about Papaw?
Papaw had a 49, I believe it was. It was a Ford too. And he parked it out there at the end of the driveway. The driveway there went way on out to Lewis's. We come on the road out there at Lewis's somewhere.
That's his neighbor.
Yeah, that's my neighbor. And then they sold him that lot there, but we had a long driveway. And he'd park that truck out there at the end. Now, I can't tell you how many cars he'd had. Daddy had every kind of car in the world.
He traded out
He
time.
traded every weekend, buddy.
I don't know what made him like that.
I don't know.
I
It's
don't
just like
know.
Brad.
I tell you what he wouldn't do. He wouldn't wash a car.
No,
But he did there. He got into spray painting them.
Yeah.
And I said, why you spray painting that car? But he said, why, brother, he said, if it gets dirty, you put you a new coat of paint on it, and it looks brand
That's
new.
what he done.
And I went in R&S one day, and Carl Ray come through, and he said, what about Jess, boss? And I said, what about him? He said, he come up here the other day and got him some chrome spray paint there and painted his Jeep with it.
Chrome, not silver.
It was like
Chrome,
Yeah, it was straight up chrome.
rolling down the,
They said, buddy, he
it's a sight.
they said that sun hit that thing, it blind you, buddy.
Like a mirror.
And he drove it home like that.
Yeah, he
Who spray paints a car in a public store parking lot?
He did.
Jeff Stevens.
Yep.
And he liked any kind of low, but when I was a
That was a
kid,
Jeep Cherokee.
when I was a
Yeah.
kid, he bought a Montgomery Ward 50 motorcycle, the ones with the little fat tires, you know.
Yeah.
And he come up there, he looked like one of them bears at a circus, sitting on that motorcycle, and he come up here, he said, you want to take a ride on my motorcycle, little boy? And I said, well, yeah, and I was sitting on the plastic bumper, and the tire just going bah, 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 on that, you know, me riding, because I didn't have no seat. He took the whole seat up. But I got right on there with him. I rode all over Charlie Sizemore Road. He took me up on the deadlift.
What'd he do on that moped?
Well, now that moped, I heard somebody squalling there one morning. It wasn't out there today or whatever. So I go outside. Well, he's laying in the yard, and he's got a moped laying on top of him. And he's just sitting there going, nee. that wheel just a spinning on him. And he said, get that thing off me, brother. And I started laughing at him. And he said, well, don't sit there and laugh at it, man, brother. Get that moped off of me. I said, I thought you liked that moped. And he said, I'm getting rid of that thing, brother. You'll get killed on a moped. He'd already rode it up under a trailer anyway.
He probably 65 year old then, wasn't he?
Why, yeah, he was a a lot older than me when that happened. I mean, that was
Well, he was a lot older than you when all that happened.
Yeah, well,
he was the same amount of years older.
Well, yeah, painting the cars and stuff, yeah.
He made the 81.
That went over his head.
I can't do my.
He was 81.
He was the same amount of years older than you the day you was born as he was the day he died.
Well, I know that.
Oh, well.
Oh, well, all right.
I do all that.
We cleared that one too.
One of the best ones I was when I got up to go to work one morning when I worked in Harlan, and I had to get up and leave, and Papaw couldn't stand like gross stuff. He gag on it. He just make that racket. I went to walk out the door, and all I heard was, and I said, buddy, I said, what in the world? I said, what you doing? And he said, brother, he said, that dog right there, he said, Butch, he said, you a dumb dog, Butch.
This is a good.
He said,
I was wanting you to tell.
And he said, you have fixed yourself, brother. And I went out there and I said, Papaw, what have you done to the dog? And he said, what I do? He said, I didn't put my head on the tar and go to sleep, brother. That's what Butch did. I didn't do that. And I said, well, you stroked that dog, because I mean, it looked like some kind of zombie. His head was like going 3 or 4 different directions. The dog's head was under the tar and he just backed over.
Plumb out of socket like that.
Well, so then he was sat there and he go, look at you, Butch. And he just keep doing that. And I said, you go have to do something with that dog. And he said, I know what I'm going to do with it, brother. And he went to the back of his vehicle. It was that big chrome Jeep. So he goes back there and he opens it up and he comes out with a clothes hanger. Now,
A war
clothes hanger. So when he goes, here comes Nanny. She said, what's that man done now? And I said, he's killed this dog. I said, he's run over its head. And she said, now why'd you do that, Jess? And he went, me do it. What about me? He said, I didn't do it. He said, Butch, you crazy, Butch. He keep talking to it. He said, getting up under that tar like that, you had all kinds of places to sleep. You get right under that tar and go to sleep.
Didn't tell nobody.
And it was them. Nanny said, now what are you going to do with that clothes hanger? And he said, I'm going to take him to the ditch line. What's it look like I'm doing? So he made him like he made a little.
A noose.
A noose pretty much with that clothes hanger. Slid it over his leg, and as soon as it touched that dog's leg, it just kicked a little bit. And then he said, he ain't dead, brother. And I said, no. I said, but I'm going to work. And so when I was pulling it out, he was right down on his knees praying over that dog. When I went to leave to go to work, he was praying with that dog. He loved that dog. I know he ran over its head, but he did love that dog. But
I feel like that's
I come home and I said, what happened to Butch? And he said, don't worry about Butch, brother. And I said, well, I mean, is he alive or dead? I mean, what happened? He said, don't you worry about Butch, brother. Butch is a real dog. And I said, but where is Butch? He said, I don't want you fooling with him now. And I said, well, where's he at, though? He said, he's out there under that building, brother. Now, don't you mess with Butch. So I went out there and I looked, and I said, Butch. And he was way up over there, and all I could see was his tail wagged a little bit. And so he got so far up and there we couldn't have got to him no way. And I don't know how, it was days later. I come walking around the corner of the house, and there come the awfulest out that you ever seen of a dog. His upper snout went to the left, and his bottom one went to the right, and it just dropped. And his tongue was hanging out, and I was like, I said, golly, I had covered my eyes, but that was the grossest thing I'd ever seen. And it was walking. Well, I go in the house and I said, Papaw, I said, you got to put this dog down. I said, that's terrible. I said, he went, what about put a dog down, bro? That's Butch. I said, well, I don't care who it is or what it is. I said, it can't eat like that. I said, its jaws hanging right straight down to the ground. He said, don't you worry about Butch, brother. He's a real dog. And I went back out there and I started watching that dog. And he would take his jaw and put it on the ground and push. and you'd hear them bones a popping and cracking. And he finally popped it right back.
He put it in
What?
place.
He lived probably.
lived about 7 or 8 years.
He lived there right here.
Get his head run over.
And he got shot in the head. He got shot in the head one time.
Yeah.
And it put his eye out. That was way back before that. He got shot and it put his eye out. And I said, "What happened to that dog, Papaw?" And he said, "You can't fool Bush, brother. He likes women." And I said, "What are you talking about?" He said, "That neighbor, brother. He shot him in the head over that." Now, he said, "I've told him about it." I said, "Don't you be down there now, Butch." He said, he won't listen to you. He said, "Will you, Butch?" And when he talked to him, that dog would howl and go on and bark.
Yeah, he act like it had sense.
He just sat and had conversation with Butch all the time.
Yeah.
When he finally did die, though, he put him in a 5-gallon bucket and tied him in a tree.
Yep.
That was how he buried him. And I said, "What'd you do that for?"
You have your debate.
And he said, "Well, boy, if you do that, they can't dig him up. My animal can't get to him when you do him like that." And I said, "Well, I still don't know where he put that dog."
I don't know
It's
where
probably
he
still hanging there, the bones is.
But now, he did love that dog, though. That's a fact.
You know how he got that dog?
Yeah,
You remember how he got
I
it?
do.
Well, you gonna tell it?
I let Donnie tell it.
You tell it.
Well, you tell it.
Bush belonged to that old woman that lived in the house down there at the bridge. And every time he'd walk up and down the road, Daddy would go to that flea market. Every time he'd come up the road, there come Butch. He'd get right behind him. And he followed him home so much, that woman said, "You can just have that dog." He stayed.
Butch was like Benji, he was Iredale.
Butch, yeah, he's Iredale.
I looked Iredale up back before internet. Really, it was just getting going, and I looked up Iredale, and them things stand above your kneecap. They're like a top, kind of a little
Well,
bit.
maybe
top.
Butch what?
Well, Butch had legs about 3 or 4
Yeah,
inches.
he must have been part
he
Basset
was,
Hound or
he
something.
was part Iredale.
He was way out of proportion.
Yeah,
That dog
sorry.
didn't have his proportions wasn't right.
He was a real dog.
He had
But
legs.
anyway,
them
we
little
had quite
legs.
the raising from that pack. But you're talking about traditions, and I guess you want to get into talking about music.
Yeah.
And we talked about music. Papaw was kind of guy that sat out in a swing or in a chair on the porch, and he just sang, but he didn't play. And he could play fiddle, he could play mandolin was what he played the most, and obviously he played a lot of guitar, and he could finger pick too. But he'd sit out there all day and do concerts to the birds or the neighbors, whoever was listening. He didn't care. And so that's just the way we was raised. And I guess Daddy was playing early on. When did you start playing, Daddy?
I was like 6 or 7.
So he was about 6 or 7, and Donnie got caught on and started. And I reckon I probably played a little guitar and sung my first song up at Ralph Reynolds's, wasn't it?
Yeah, you was about 5 years
I was
old.
5 years old, and I played and sung in church up here on Ball Road.
And old Ralph give you, how much money did he give you, $1 or 2?
I think it's $1. You make tens of dollars playing bluegrass music.
He was a pro out.
Yeah.
But anyway, it just we just cut our teeth, and that's all we knew. Like Daddy said, that was just music all the time, and you either played or you was gonna be the black sheep of the family, and nobody didn't want that, so we all just played and picked and.
But now Daddy's left-handed though.
And Daddy get that old fiddle out, and he'd want me to follow him on that guitar. And I was left-handed, upside down.
And so he just flipped the guitar upside
So
down.
I had
with
to follow that old fiddle for hours. He'd play it for 2 or 3 hours, and I'd sit there and follow him.
it. You just sound like you had the best time ever was.
That was so
You
fun.
sound like you was enjoying
Yeah, so most
yourself.
people around here knows Daddy had been
Sometimes I
around
didn't
him.
want to sit there and do that.
It's kind of weird because most left-handed people have a guitar that's left-handed, and the bass E strings on the top and the high E strings on the bottom, just like with us. But Daddy don't do that. He just turns. I play right-handed. He just turns it upside down and plays it. He's the upside down guitar
Yeah,
player.
there's a
around
few
here.
people does that. Most people changes the strings.
Yeah, ain't very many does that. I think it takes a special person.
I
to do
guess.
that.
Daddy told me not to foof his guitar when he's at work in the mines.
Yeah.
So that's why you couldn't
As
do
soon as
it.
he got gone, I'd get it out. and
Start playing.
But then when he wanted to sit and play, you didn't play it that long.
Yeah.
Me and Danny, we'd sit down there and play a whole lot, sing.
Now I remember when I first started playing, and Papaw was a common spoken person. He didn't have no big, huge vocabulary nothing like that, but he could say a lot in few words. And when I first started playing, I tried to play a song with him, probably one of the first times ever. I'll never will forget it. When we got done, he said, timing's a real thing, brother. He said, you gotta have time if you're gonna play music. And so I just took that and put that as I had bad timing.
Yeah.
If I was gonna play, I was gonna have to learn how to play in time. And he told me I had bad. But I'll tell you, as many people as I've played music with, I don't think I've ever been around anybody that loved it like Papaw. Because he straight up put his whole body into playing a song. I mean, he could entertain a room full of people just by himself. Because he would dance and everything in the world while he played. I mean,
he played barn dances. He played all kinds of stuff back in his day.
You remember when he was coming home from playing music and had to stop in his bathroom and seen a band with no head?
I don't remember that.
Was that Bob O'Day?
No, he'd say that all the time.
I remember they was coming home from church one night and his car got running a little bit hot and he thought he'd pull it off the road there and it just flipped over on the top and landed right in the creek. They wasn't no off the road where he's pulling. He just went out.
Yeah, that's one of the things that
Mommy wouldn't go back to church with him no more. She
That
quit.
put her out of the church.
She said I quit when he turned
She
me
said
over.
every time I get out with that man, he'd wreck me in a car. Every time we get out,
She
he'd
quit
wreck me.
riding with you.
Yeah, he wrecked a lot.
So what you got before we play some of them old songs you sung? We're gonna play a little music.
That's good. I'm satisfied. If there's any other tales that you'd like to tell, now's the time, or we'll move on into.
We've told a lot about it. I guess we just move on.
I'll say this, I really appreciate living my life that close to my grandparents. I don't know that everybody gets that opportunity to spend that much time. I mean, I spend a lot of time with my grandparents'
I
house.
can say this, every time we'd go look at a place, Mommy'd find something wrong with it.
Because she didn't want you to
She
leave.
didn't want us moving.
She did, yeah, that's right. And I just, I mean, I can think the earliest memories I have of life, they were right there. And so it just, that was my childhood. That's how I was brought up. And you know, as far as like telling tales on Papaw and Nanny, we could do that from now to
Days.
you know, this time next year. But it was just, to me, it was a privilege for one thing to be their grandchild. But it was just a blessing to be able to have a life of influence from older people. And it not just be, you know, like nowadays, sometimes it seems like families don't even spend time together with their immediate family like they ought to, and then not, you know, let alone the grandparents and stuff. So I really appreciate, because they had to work, you know, Daddy and Mommy had to go to work, and so Nanny and Papaw was, you know, big part of my
They
raising.
kept eye on us, kept us fed.
I always went in there and eat breakfast. She'd have breakfast every morning and all that kind of
Biscuits
stuff.
and apples, and
Yeah, that was her big thing, was gravy and biscuits and
she
apples.
always cooked the soup beans on a wood stove. Them was the best soup beans.
I
in the
will
world.
tell this, and then I'm gonna hush.
You ain't. gonna
I
say
am. We brought up gravy biscuits. I stayed all night down there one night. Papaw had a habit of getting up and down, like not just at night, but like all the time. Up and down, nonstop. He'd take naps all through the day. He'd go in there, lay down, go to sleep, get up, go do something, come back, go sleep. He'd do that all day. And I don't remember like Daddy does when he was younger and working, you know, and all that. I remember when he was my Papaw. And so one night I stayed all night with him, and he was in there shaking the coals out of the old heating stove. And I don't know, it's probably 4 o'clock in the morning. I was in a dead sleep. He woke me up. And he said, look, come in here, little boy, and get you something to eat. He said, there's gravy and biscuits in here. Well, of course, I was like, well, it must be later than I thought, because Nanny's up and cooked these gravy biscuits. So I go in there, and first thing, I was half asleep. I noticed they didn't look right. So I put the biscuits on my plate, and I put the gravy on there, and I took one bite that absolutely locked my jaws. And I said, who in the world made them biscuits? He said, Who's it look like made them, brother? I made them. And I said, well, what did you make it with? He said, flour and water, brother. What do you make a biscuit with? That's all. It was literally flour and water. And I knew better than that. I knew Nanny did more than just flour and water. So he absolutely locked my jaws. That's the only time that I ever ate a biscuit in that house that wasn't made by her. And I just got trapped. But now,
you had to.
On the music stuff, like I started playing mandolin because Papaw played mandolin, and I couldn't learn hardly nothing from him really. He showed me, but it was like the stuff that he just wanted you to be able to watch him do it and then just emulate it. So it took me a long time to learn one good enough to be able to watch him and then try to be able to play while he was playing. But his pick was like a skull lid and stuff. So what he played.
Yeah, he cut his up with a camless knife, bro. I just bought a camless knife this week because he always had 'em. But we'll do a few songs. The title of this tradition, so we, of course, now a few years ago after I'd had a stroke, we decided we'd start playing music again because I stepped away for quite a few years from playing music when I started preaching. And but anyway, we got back and started playing and got a group. We call our group Stevens Family Tradition because literally that's what music is for us. It was a tradition, and since we got together, we started writing a lot of music, and that's what we usually play as a group. So we're thankful, Donnie and Tommy and Bargo and Sean for coming to pick with us. We're gonna play you a few songs, and we'll start out with an old one that Papaw used to do all the time. We actually done this old tune at his funeral, and then we'll do a few more, and hopefully you've enjoyed the program this evening. Well, down the road about a mile or two lives a little girl with curly blue, about so high and her hair is brown, prettiest thing both in this town. Sunday too, go to see my pretty blue, or you hear the rooster crow, see me heading down the road. An old man Flatty on the farm, from the hog lot to the barn, from the barn to the rail, made his living by carrying a bale. Time I get the blues, I walk the soles right off my shoes. Don't know why I love her so. Gal of mine lives down the road. Well, down the road, I got a pretty girl down the road. Well, down the road, I got a pretty girl down the road. Something like Papaw would do, and then he would get off into something about like this. Let's do a little Take Your Shoes Off, Moses. That's another Jeff Stevens song. Well, take your shoes off, Moses, strong holy ground. Well, stand still, Moses, see the salvation work. Salvation work, see the salvation work. Stand still, Moses, see the salvation work. For I am the Lord thy God. Well, take your shoes off, Moses, you're on holy ground. Holy ground, you're on holy ground. Take your shoes off, Moses, you're on holy ground. For I am the Lord thy God. Well, take your shoes off, Moses, you're on holy ground. Holy ground, you're on holy ground. Take your shoes off, Moses, you're on holy ground. For I am the Lord thy God. Got any more old ones you want to do before we do a few of our newer stuff?
Lord, I don't know. Another your Papaw, please.
Huh?
Take a water brush.
Oh, see. I knew that's coming. Alright, we'll do some here that in recent years that we wrote and stuff. Papaw and Nanny, they like to hear a lot of that stuff.
They like the 9-pound hammer pretty good.
Oh, Lordy mercy. Well, we'll try it. I don't know if I can remember. We'll try it. We'll try another old timey bluegrass number called the 9-pound hammer. We ain't done this.
Let me smash it there.
Well, the 9-pound hammer is a little too heavy, but for my size, roll along, buddy, get rough and slow. How can I roll when the wheels go? It's a long way to Harlan, it's a long way to Hazard. Just teach a little school, just teach a little school. Roll on, buddy, don't roll so slow. How can I roll when the wheels don't go? Well, when I'm long gone, won't expect the boots on. Out of number 9 cold, out of number 9 cold. Roll on, buddy, I'm rolling slow. How can I roll when the wheels won't go? Hey, Joe. Well, roll on, buddy, don't you roll so slow. How can I roll when the wheels won't go? For the first time in 25 years, I'll take it. All right, let's do a few. We'll do a few that Nanny and Papaw always enjoyed listening to the music after we was able to pin down and do. So we'll do a few of them. His only son, his blood was shed for everyone. Brought salvation for the lost when he bowed his head upon the cross. He walked there among the men. Some turned away, some turned to him. Said, lay your burdens at my feet. Said, lay your burdens at my feet. Take up the cross and follow me. Now when they laid him in the ground, they thought that it would hold him down. Then the stone was rolled away, and Jesus is alive today. We'll do one in a little different vein. It's for Nanny on her birthday. It's one of her favorites. God told Abraham, take Isaac up the mountain. There make him a sacrifice to me. I know tears rolled down and breath was hard to come by, while Abraham knelt there on his knees. So hand in hand they headed up the mountain, and they thought about the pain that laid in store. Like shattered glass inside his heart was breaking, 'cause he'd never known a pain like this before. Too soon they reached the spot where they were going. He laid Isaac down on his deathbed. His heart raced as he drew the knife to strike him. But a God of mercy stopped him and said, I just wanted you to know exactly how it feels. Watch the son you love walk up the lonely hill. Feel the pain inside as your heart breaks in your chest. To lose the very thing that you love the best. Now you walk the walk, and I know you'll understand the price that must be paid to correct the sins of man. You know just how I feel when they walk him up that hill. I just wanted you to know exactly how it feels when they walk him up that hill. I just wanted you to know. What you got?
Oh, you gonna do that? Oh, Nanny never did like that.
No, we can't do that.
She didn't like that. She go, ain't got nothing better to sing than that. I was like, Nanny, I wrote that.
I don't care. It ain't no care. It's too sad.
She's so, Jim's has got better sounds than that.
Yeah, let's go do it right quick. Let's do it before we move up. We'll do a couple in B or not in B, and that'd be good. This one here made Nanny's head swell up because it went number 1 on the bluegrass gospel chart. We didn't think much of it, but she did. Let's do it.
in this old world today, seem we got too far away. Just how far will we fall before we answer the call? Will we rise to take a stand against the word that used to man? Will we stand on our heels? Let our voices be seen. We can't put him on a shelf and live for ourselves for long. This world is not the place. We'll finish the race and call home. Wake up and hear the call. Oh, please hear me when I say he has got a better way. Let's stand up and be strong. What's right is right, what's wrong is wrong. When our time on earth is done, we'll join the Father and the Son in the land where time will last. All our troubles in the past. We can't put him on a shelf and live for ourselves for long. This world is not the place. We'll finish the race and call home. Wake up and hear the call. We can't put him on a shelf and live for ourselves for long. This world is not the place. We'll finish the race and call home. Wake up and hear the call. Well, my baby don't be, she don't think me. Just forget that. What was I back? Fanny said someone new. Alright, let's do Zacchaeus was a wee little man. Can I remember that? Come back. Let's see how many, wait a minute, how's it go?
What's it gonna do?
You read it. Honey came to take their money. Down Jericho way.
D.
B.
The D.
B. Alright. 1, 2, 3. body of them, all heard together even. He said, I've been forgiven. I once was lost but now I'm saved. Oh, Jesus paid for my sin and delivered me today. Come down. I'm going to your house today. Well, he laid his burdens down, asked to be forgiven for his ways. He asked to be forgiven for his Come down. I'm going to your house today. Well, he laid his burdens down, asked to be forgiven for his ways. He asked to be forgiven for his ways. We're going to do one more that just sort of Donnie wrote with a great friend of ours, Steve Gully. And this song kind of just envelops our raising. You heard us talk a lot about Papaw and Nanny. This song just talks about the holler we was raised on. And as time would have it, we're all right back there again, close to one another. And so this just talks about that place and talks about how we was raised and the good, I guess you could say, moral and neighborly values that generation had that we could stand to see a lot more of today too. This is one called Do We. On this old dirt highway, Papaw played when he was a kid. He used to tell me stories about all the things he did. For him, life was simple, the way he wanted it to be. His memories drew a picture that he passed on to me. Now there's houses by the dozen where we used to plow the ground, planting seeds and raising families, have no need to settle down. There's paved roads and stop signs, I guess that's all well and good. They say we got it better than we ever thought we would. Or do we learn to live without luxury? And will we ever get back to the way things used to be? And can we learn from a time in the past? Lord help me make a difference in a world that's changing fast. Now I take my children where I fished when I was young. And I'll live here in these mountains till my final song is sung. I long for a simpler day. Being rich was almost free. They say we need it all or nothing, but I ask you honestly, oh, do we value what we own or what we give away? And will we help our neighbors live to see a better day? And can we be a light night in a place where no one sees. Lord, help me make this world the way you wanted it to be. Please won't you help me make this world a better place for you and me.
Thank you so much for listening to Tales of the Times, Episode 6, Tradition. This was very special to get to do and record, and I'm very appreciative to my family for coming and doing this for us. Join us next Saturday at 7 for Tales of the Times, Episode 7, Brother and Sister, where we will sit down with siblings, 2 mystery guests, and reveal them the following week. I look very forward to everyone getting to listen to that, and we will see you next time. Thank you for listening.